Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We are ready. Okay. So, folks, welcome to Northern Perspective. This is episode 9. This is the first for the calendar year of 2026. This is a debrief with context of North Glengarry's January 12th and 26th council meeting today on Northern Perspective. We sit down with Deputy Mayor Carma Willams to unpack these two meetings. These include the adoption of the 2026 municipal budget, the project on the Alexandria Lagoon expansion, local control on conservation authorities, new environmental partnerships, emergency services planning, community grants, animal controls, etc., etc. So welcome, Carma.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So, and thank you very much for coming on. This is so cool. Okay, so we'll start with the big one, the big sort of cheese. This is the 2026 budget and tax impact. So, council adopted the 2026 budget with a 5.46% tax levy increase in rising costs. So, what are the biggest cost drivers behind this increase?
Yeah, I would say the number one was probably an increase in salaries. Mm-hmm. There's been overall pressure of inflation on the township over the last number of years, and it's really kind of hit our bottom line recently, and we've had to respond proactively in terms of making sure that we keep up, that we don't keep our taxes so low that we're not keeping up with inflation. Mm-hmm. And so that's partly why, and so there were a few people who were a little surprised at the number, the percentage, but it really is in line with what most other municipalities are doing, and it's keeping us, keeps the lights on.
Well, taxes not going up is not a reality.
Well, it's not a reality, and the truth of the matter is, when I referred to salaries, we are municipal employees are a hot market, a hot market in that everybody's looking for them. Mm-hmm. And we need to retain the best talent that we can. And to do that, you have to pay fair and good salaries. Mm-hmm. And so we need to be competitive, and we want to be able to hold on to our staff, because we have an excellent staff at North Glengarry Township. Mm-hmm. And to do that, you like I say, you need to pay them. So
staff was the highest.
I would see that was key, but the pressures of costs and services and purchasing is just outrageous these days. Mm-hmm. So, and that has hit the line in every department across the municipality, mm-hmm. and so that also contributed to the increase.
So, taxes are based on the impact assessment, and there hasn't been an impact sort of assessment since 2016. So does that make difficult to manage, especially since 2016, since this is based on that? Does that make it, because this is over, we're getting to 10 years now, especially after the 2020 pandemic, does that make it very difficult to manage since there hasn't been a sort of a indexation with the impact? Or?
Absolutely, it's been difficult. But, we've gotten practiced at it since, like you say, It's been almost 10 years, but it has put an added pressure on us having to, on taxation with regards to the number. Normally what happens is because we're really only benefit. Oh, pardon me. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It happened.
We benefit always from the increase in taxation from growth. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing we've been benefiting from in the last 10 years. But and so and generally there's that increase in assessment, which is 5, 6, usually 7%, somewhere mm-hmm. around there. We have had the benefit of being able to use those dollars, rather than going and raising our own tax rate. Mm-hmm. And so it's managed to, over the years, had kept the numbers down. And now we simply can't do that. We've been pressuring Impact to get their act together. The government, rather, it's the government that needs to do it. And I don't know, why they're dragging their feet like this, because it's going to, every year that goes by, it's going to cause further problems
Yeah.
in terms of sustainability, not only for municipalities, but at the end of the day, for homeowners.
Yeah, but when there is an indexation, that's also going to be very sort of controversial because of
It could be.
because of
Because they haven't had that in years.
years, and the houses have gone up.
That's exactly right. So it remains to be seen what
Yeah.
exactly that's going to look like.
So you talked about growth, infrastructure readiness for the Alexandria Lagoon itself. Contractors were pre-qualified for the lagoon expansion project. Can you explain a little bit about what the lagoon expansion project is?
Yes, well, that is the utmost most important project that we are facing now in North Glengarry, and have faced probably since the Maxville Water Project back in 2019. And this project's been on the book for the last 30 years.
Yes.
It's been an ongoing thorn in every council's side for the last 30 years. Study after study, one of which we're still paying for. But finally, we have a solution. 2025, we got funding from the government to make it happen. This will allow us to upgrade the facility, to get our effluent so that it is to environmental standards, and then be able to discharge enough to be able to allow for growth. And that's what's key here, is that the lagoon and the lack of capacity there has really limited our ability to build new homes. We've only relied on infill, and we need that capacity in order to be able to get some real housing development going here and some growth for.
So
North
is there a
Glengarry.
start and final date to what?
It's in 2027.
Yeah.
I'm
That they're starting more, or
No. That'll be the end date.
Oh wow, okay.
It's underway now. And what they were clearing the sludge out in the fall.
Okay.
They'll continue that as soon as weather permits, and it's underway.
Okay. So let's talk about environmental stewardship and conservation authorities. So council formally approved, supported local governed conservation authorities amidst the sort of provincial restructuring system. So why was it important for North Glengarry to take a position, sort of a local position on this, as opposed to what the province is sort of looking for?
Yeah, well, municipalities, have benefited from a very close relationship with the conservation authorities for a long, long time now. And, they manage our watersheds, and there's certain permitting that they take care of. And that close relationship with municipalities, allows that process to run efficiently and effectively. They're great stewards of the environment that represent us locally. Our concern is that you start centralizing in organizations like that, you lose your local flavor, you lose your ability to make decisions on the local level, and they're all done regionally. And what regional decision making accomplishes, which is it looks at the bigger areas. Large urban centers tend to get more of the focus, and the small rural reality can be lost in between.
Yeah. So, given the fact, and I don't think that North Glengarry is alone on siding on smaller sort of conservation authorities' side. I think it's sort of a trend across.
There is, generally speaking, a trend across. However, there is a reason why this is happening, and that the government is focusing on conservation authorities. There have been problems with some conservation authorities in the past that have kind of caught the attention of the province. We haven't had that problem in our region, and so we want to make sure that they don't, when they do make changes, and we could probably benefit from the modernizing of some policies and procedures and technology, but don't go throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
No, good idea. So you have there was a tree planting and green space investment. This is in partnership with the South Nation Conservation Authority. So can you say more about this project? The where and the when, but
Yeah, these kinds of partnerships are really great because we get to take advantage of the expertise of the Conservation Authority that can manage the project, and we can provide some funding in order to enable it. I do believe that there are, I think, 4 trees that are going to be planted at the Glengarry Pioneer Museum.
okay.
Now that property is not municipal, but it is of benefit to green North Glengarry as a whole, and so this is and that property could use some. So it's like they'll put some nice, quite large saplings in there of varying species.
Okay.
That should really help that space. And then there's also, I think, the water tower in Maxville. They're going to be planting some trees there, which will also benefit that area in terms of greening. And these kinds of partnerships, it's what we look for all the time in North Glengarry. If we can partner with any other, whether they be a for-profit, not-for-profit, or community organization, and take advantage of supporting each other, we do.
Okay. So, emergency services, the EMS-based lease itself, there's a new 5-year lease that was approved with the City of Cornwall for this EMS base. Can you explain what this lease is all about?
Yeah, the the ambulance service or emergency management services has, for the most part, they rent space from the municipalities. Because they have to be in a central location. So the ambulance here in Alexandria, or that covers this area of North Glengarry, South
They're
Glengarry.
dispatched from Cornwall, right?
Well, the main dispatch is probably there, but the ambulances, like one of the ambulances is housed in the fire station in Alexandria. And so that's where it sits, waiting for a call. It's dispatched then from a main dispatch. And that's an important location because it's very central.
Yeah.
And these ambulances need the main routes in order to be able to get to their calls as quick as possible. So that it's a good location. I think that fire station, as far as I know, was renovated some 22 years ago or something to accommodate the ambulance.
Yeah.
And we just got a nice raise in the rent. So we are actually bringing in significantly more revenue off of that rent than we were in the past with the past lease agreement. So it works well both for emergency services, which we need to partner heavily with them, obviously, and it gives them a secure location, which they need.
Oh, good. So let's talk about the community grants and local organizations. So council approved some funding allocations to several community groups. So how much funding is usually budgeted, and how does council evaluate supporting these organizations? Yeah,
so generally every year, I think approximately $25,000 is put into the budget for the community grant program. This program has evolved significantly over the years, where we have come up with policies and procedures that are really quite stringent. Because these are taxpayers' dollars that go into supporting these community projects and community events, it's important that the community as a whole benefit from them. So we have eligibility criteria that is required in order to make sure that we're not funding private ventures and putting money in people's pockets. These are projects that are benefiting the community as well.
So can you give me an example of who got who benefited this year?
Oh boy!
Sorry about that. That wasn't on what I sent you list-wise, but do you remember a few of them?
The Lions Club was one of them. There's a whole bunch of them, but I haven't looked at that list since the last council meeting, so I don't want to rhyme off the name. But the Lions Club, the Alexandria Lions Club, for example, has been a good partner in the past.
Yeah. And they run the July 1st.
They run the Canada Day stuff. But the other thing they do, because remember we used to have Festival of Lights at Island Park? Yeah. And that was run by various different organizations. And anyway, the Lions Club finally took it over, we were just trying to keep the budget for that project in line.
Yeah.
And so they're the perfect partner in that they manage putting up the decorations in Island Park.
Yeah.
And, we provide some funding to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect partnership and the community as a whole benefits because it's a beautiful place to visit at Christmas.
Yes, it is.
And those are the kinds of projects we really like to partner in.
So, cell infrastructure and community connectivity. So, council renewed a Bell Mobility license agreement for antenna use. Can you explain what this is about?
Yeah, well, it's some kind of telecommunications device that's installed on the outside of the Maxwell District Sports complex. And really, what it's to help cell reception. So, for example, when the Highland Games are on, and there's 20,000 people at the fairgrounds, there's a great demand for service.
Bandwidth must be
Yes, and so they need these additional. I don't know what they would be called.
Yeah. Boosters or repeaters.
Or something like that. And they've rented space basically on the sports complex, which is close to the ground, so it allows for that connectivity.
Okay. So animal control and dog catcher services. So the council debated a kennel compliance, aggressive dogs, and sort of a proposed hybrid model for animal control. So are there any challenges that the township is having right now with the current animal control services? Or
yeah, no, that's a great question, and I was really happy to see this report come from our director of planning. The fellow that we have doing our dog catching, he's our bylaw officer, and his job isn't just to deal with animals. He's in charge of enforcing bylaws like clean yards and all of those kinds of important bylaws. But he's so busy trying to chase dogs down in the community that he doesn't really have the time that he needs to be able to do the more important work that the public expect of him, which is to make sure that people are following our bylaws.
Compliant.
And really, this dog, like everybody and their dog owns a dog. It seems,
exactly, especially now, a lot more now.
Post pandemic. And of course, dogs, sometimes they get out, they run away. Or some people can't look after them. And so these items, they need to be dealt with. And so like a joint venture with I believe it's Russell Township, where they've got quite a significant setup with regards to catching dogs, housing dogs, rehoming dogs, that we can call on their services on a contract basis, which will help relieve our bylaw officer. Because right now he's 24/7, and then he can focus on other sort of more important issues, and actually have a day off sometimes.
Yeah, no, and Todd. I mean, I've had Todd on speed dial for a few times, and he's been really good.
Yes, he's very good.
Even on a weekend,
He's very responsive, but he only goes so far.
Yeah. Okay, so excuse me. So drainage services and local expertise. So you appointed a new local drain superintendent. That's an interesting sort of title, drain superintendent.
I know.
So is this a new position for the township, and what does a drain superintendent do?
Well, I don't know. I personally don't think it's very exciting, but we have municipal drains all over the township that do have an important job of draining agricultural land to the right locations and effectively and efficiently. So those municipal drains need to be managed and maintained. And so municipalities are required to do that. We do get some funding to hire somebody. So in the past, we did have an employee who was our drainage superintendent. That person retired some years ago. We hadn't replaced them, but we were doing, I think, just on contract. and the contract was a bit far away, and they weren't like, we need people boots on the ground who can come here. You know, if somebody's having trouble with their drain, they can go, they can look at it, they can devise a solution, and then get work done. All of that work does get passed back. The cost of it gets passed back to those people who benefit from the drain, the property owners that benefit from the drain. So really, it's it should be cost neutral.
Okay. Labor stability. We talked about salaries in the township. So a waterworks agreement. There was a new 3-year collective agreement signed, or that was ratified with the waterworks department. Are there many more collective agreements coming up in the near future?
Not that I'm aware of. When our interim CAO Tim Simpson was here, you know, he really kind of packaged up and took care of any loose ends that were needing to be taken care of, and that was one of them. So I think we're in good shape now.
We're in good shape. Okay. So community events, the Meet Me on Main Street, which is, you know, very popular, has grown in popularity, and people really love him. So council approved the 2026 event dates. So how many Meet Me events are there, and where are they going to be?
Okay, so when I knew that question was coming up, I texted our trusty director of community services and asked her what the dates were.
Yeah, I have a meeting with her next Tuesday.
Do you? Yeah, she's terrific. Yeah. So on May the 22nd is Glenn Robertson from 5 to 8 p.m. June 6th is Dunvegan from 5 to 8 p.m. July the 9th is Maxville, 5 to 8 p.m. And then Alexandria is July the 23rd, 5 to 8 p.m. So these have grown, you're quite right, in popularity, and a great opportunity for the community to come out and meet your neighbors, catch up, you know, have that chat you haven't had all winter long. Yeah. And so the community looks forward to it, and it's something, you know, it's relatively easy for us to organize. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it helps bring our communities together. Yeah.
No, it's a great initiative, and it's been received very well by by the community. So we're down to my 12th question, the big picture reflection. So when you look at January as a whole, what best you see sort of reflects council's priorities for 2026? How do you see that?
Yeah, 2026 and going forward is
it really is an election year. I'm just putting it out there. I put it out there to Lachlan McDonald and from the south. But it is an election year. So.
It is an election year. So there will they like to call it silly season.
Silly season. Okay.
So I don't know. That silly season has probably started in some areas, but I don't think anyone's being too silly in North Glengarry as of this time yet, anyway. But yeah, so there will be, you know, obviously councillors will be, you know, focusing on running elections and that kind of thing. But it can't stop the day-to-day business of the municipality. No. We need to continue working on our mandates. One of them for sure is infrastructure. I'd referred to the Alexandria Lagoon. The Maxville Lagoon is another challenge. So we need to get down to the bottom of how we're going to fix that. It's not going to be as an expensive prospect as Alexandria is. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be easier to fix and quicker to fix, because we have growth opportunities there as well that are not being realized because we don't have the infrastructure we need. So that is definite focus.
That's going to be a focus,
The Alexandria Main Street, top priority.
Yeah.
It needs to be completely revamped, and it's getting redesigned. It's going to be a better look, more functional, and you'll actually be able to drive down the street eventually without, you know, breaking your teeth.
Yeah, well, you know, we're in better shape than Montreal is at this
yes,
point.
Well,
so the you know have those. So anything else you'd like to touch on for what you believe is important for 2026 as well, or what your vision is, perhaps, or
my vision is to maintain a strong and functional council. You know, one where we work well together. You know, we are communicating effectively with the residents of North Glengarry. and providing them the services that they need and want, without bankrupting
Yeah.
the resident. And so, if you have a good and steady council, you can get so much done.
Yeah.
Can be very effective. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that happen in 2026.
Good. All right. Yeah. Well, you talked about, communicating to Glengarrians and North Glengarry. This is where we try to put it out there. Carma
Yeah.
Willams, thank you so much for coming in. Always, it's a pleasure. I hope you can make it in. We can alternate between you and Jamie. It's nice to see different perspectives on how council is actually perceiving things. So we want to remind the public that putting this together is a job. Okay, and it takes equipment and heart and a lot of work. So, but we believe that Glengarry is a great place to live. We really, really do. North Glengarry especially. That's where I'm from, and Carma as well. So we invite you. We do need some help in contributing to the programming here at Glengarry TV, whether it be Northern Perspective or other things. We're looking for patrons, sponsors, even people to come in to help to do some switching or some manual work here. So if by all means you can reach out to come and see us. So do watch for some of these posts on social media. We do our best to get our news and events and whatnot out to Glengarrians, as much just to say that we do live in a great place. So basically, thanks again for Carma for coming out. It's been a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. I'll come again, because I know I'm far more charming than Jamie McDonald.
There you go. See, there you go. Gloves off again. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, on YouTube, and we will see you for the next time for episode 10. Thank you.